international fronts this evening. Madrid court lets off former doctor over stealing newborn babies from their mothers and supplying them to infertile couples. We'll stay with us here on NEWS360. We've got the details of these stories and much more news. As always, we're streaming live on 3news.com and TV3 Ghana on Facebook.
As always, you can join us with your thoughts as well as we're live on DSTV channel 279. Let's go on to tonight. Clearly tells now more than 50 communities in the southern district of the Volta region have been cut off as a result of flooding in the area. A heavy downpour caused the river Toji, which runs through the communities, to overflow its banks, displacing residents in the area. Here's a report by Robert Abilba.
About 8,000 people, mainly farmers and fisher folks, are affected. Thousands of acres of farmlands have been inundated with floodwaters. Major roads in the area have been cut off, making transportation to the nearby communities almost impossible. Residents now have to resort to the use of canoes. The district director of NADMO, Collins Avonyu, pledged the preparedness of the district assembly and NADMO to support victims.
The main source of the water is coming up, so meaning all the areas that have been affected and better will be, if the water is still coming, it will submerge. So immediate attention.
The member of parliament for the area, Kobla Woyume, has visited the affected communities and urged farmers to relocate.
We probably may have to appeal to all who would want to come in and assist us, because this is just not the best. That every year around this time, people are apprehensive that, hey, is this not going to destroy the fields, to even plow and plant?
Affected farmers shared their plight.
I have lost everything. My vegetables, cassava, they are all gone bad. We are appealing to NADMO to come to our aid.
He requested government to dredge in the river to avoid further disaster.
Now, the fire service and police have begun investigations into the cause of a fire outbreak at the offices of the Ashanti Regional Education Directorate in Kumasi. Sunday's fire gutted the offices of the regional director and his secretary. Here's reports by Benjamin Adu.
The fire, which reportedly started at 8 a.m., destroyed items including laptops, television sets, a refrigerator, and other electrical gadgets and files. It took firefighters about 45 minutes to douse the raging fire, which nearly spread to other offices. Those visiting the office for business were disappointed as helpless staff gauged at the rubble. The cause of the fire is yet to be established.
We've spoken with some people here. We have commenced both criminal and fire investigations. We are still going to speak to some people more. If there's a need for someone to be invited, we still are going to do. If there's for someone to be arrested, we surely will do the same. For now, we have just commenced investigations.
Regional Director of Education, Mary Owusu-Echan, expressed shock over the incident.
This is a national asset we are looking at. The nation has lost a lot. Personal files of senior staff of Ghana Education Service in the Ashanti region have all been lost. So really, it's affected me.
The Metro Fire Officer, Rashid Nishao, asked the public to observe fire safety precautions, such as switching off electrical gadgets when not in use to avoid fire disasters.
Extinguishers, smoke detectors, fire alarm systems, training your men regarding issues of fire. Because whether the fire will spread big or small depends on the person who detects the fire and the actions or inactions of that person. So I advise that all public institutions, you make yourself available for fire service to give you the necessary information to secure your facilities.
Let's step further with issues of fire. Safety is a shared responsibility, and government and regulators have a role to play. These are the words, it's actually coming from the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, and they are saying that a year after a gas tanker discharging natural gas exploded, causing a local filling station at Atomic Junction here in Accra to detonate.
The blast, which left 7 dead and hundreds injured, occurred at about 6:30 p.m. on October 7, 2017. Its aftermath left government officials, the fire service and the National Petroleum Authority in a frenzy to avert the occurrence of such tragedy. President Akufo-Addo visited the site of the blast, accompanied by a number of government officials.
A statement will be prepared for the country. Yes. And the proposal you have in mind is something that has been worked out in other places.
Mr. President, actually it's happening in Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, Senegal. Ghana is by and large the exception.
Let me have a look at it before.
Vice President Muhammadu Bawumia had earlier visited the site and announced that immediate modifications at filling stations would take effect.
It's in the interest of the country that we actually implement some new policy directions. The National Petroleum Authority, the EPA, the Energy Ministry, all of us, fire service, they're all going to be involved as we put this new policy together. And we're going to move quite quickly to do it. It's not going to be one that you wait weeks for it to happen. It's going to happen relatively quickly.
In a statement to mark 1 year of the explosion, the National Petroleum Authority (NPA) said aside the CRM, it has also strengthened its capacity to intensify its monitoring and inspection mechanisms to ensure safety standards at the various stations are rigorously enforced.
And yesterday was exactly a year that this happened. Now let's go on to Skype now. Nana Akwada is the Executive Director of the Bureau of Public Safety. Mr. Akwada, thank you very much for your time. Now I recall after this, just about a year ago, a committee was established. There was 4 objectives that they were supposed to work with: regulatory framework, cylinder recall, training and capacity building, and then decommissioning of high-risk filling plants. We know that the regulatory framework, something is being done. The cylinder recall is already ongoing as a result of the CRM. And then the training and capacity, the NPA says they are doing something about it. But from your own analysis of the situation, can we go to bed and say that avoidable explosions may not happen as frequently?
Well, if we, from where we sit, let me say good evening to your viewers, but from where we sit, if we do the 4 points that you just listed, we think that the government is only doing something about it. And to that extent, we cannot say that as a nation we can go to bed and get away with avoidable incidents such as happened at Atomic Junction a year ago. And if you don't mind, I can walk you through a few
sure, maybe just briefly, yes.
Thank you. We talk about in the 9 points that cabinet, 9-point directive that cabinet issued. They raised an issue with training 200 safety officers. Look, to date, we have not heard of any such training going for 200 safety officers. Neither have we heard of recruitment of such people. These people are key to enforcement of the safety standards or requirements of these state agencies, talking about fire, National Petroleum Authority, Environmental Protection Agency, and so on and so forth. The 9-point lesson also indicated Ghana Standards Authority must write standards, incorporate standards into petroleum product filling or storage and distribution in relation to LPG. The standards, we do not know of any such standards available. I am a practitioner myself, I have not come across any such standard authored by the Ghana National Standards Authority. Neither have I been called, or my organization been called, to deliberate on any such standards. So it is non-existent as far as we are concerned. And I give you the third one in relation to capacity building for people who apply themselves in the trade of in petroleum trade.
Right.
We were also informed that the NPA and the Ghana National Fire Service, and this dates as far back as June 3rd, 2015, and it also repeated itself in the rumored recommendations out of the Atomic Junction incident, that all filling station attendants were going to be certified. The NPA was going to certify these people, fire service was going to certify them, and these certifications were going to be renewed periodically. We do not know of such certification also ongoing on the market. So it is up to the citizenry to judge whether with the effort or steps being taken by the government.
So in the end, what do you expect? Maybe in the minute, we would always say that never again. These measures have been put in place. What do you expect to be done, aside what is being done already, to ensure we address avoidable explosions?
We must understand that safety discipline is not a place where you could do things half-heartedly. It is a place where you must take comprehensive action when the need arises. And so if you decide to take the things, jump and hop, and be tackling issues in bits and pieces without approaching it comprehensively, you are still exposed.
Right. Now, thank you very much for your time this evening. Naya Kwada is the Executive Director of the Bureau of Public Safety.
In some other news this evening, a director of the consortium of architects, planners, engineers and builders, Frank Taki, is unhappy about government's intention to engage a Singaporean architect to develop a master plan for Accra. According to him, the problems facing urban planning in Ghana go beyond a single individual and must be looked at holistically if the country is to make any meaningful benefit.
Government, through the Finance Ministry, is spearheading efforts at engaging Dr. Liu Thai Ker, the celebrated mastermind behind Singapore's development. The Singaporean architect and planner is to help redevelop Accra into a modern city as part of the transformational agenda. A team from government, including officials of the Finance Ministry, had earlier met with Dr. Liu Thai Ker in February. Although the two countries gained independence within the same period, Singapore has made greater strides in terms of development. Senior Minister Yao Osafo-Mafo has hinted of a possible agreement with the planner to begin work by next year. But a director of the consortium of architects, planners, engineers and builders, Frank Taki, says government appears to be oblivious of the challenges confronting Accra.
We have not understood the problem. There are challenges in Accra. Accra really needs serious planning and management, but this is not the solution.
What then is the solution?
I think we should first of all understand that planning of a city and so on is a governance issue, and the challenges go far beyond the plan preparation of a plan. There are issues to do with how to implement the plan and who is to implement the plan, who is to lead the process. It's a governance issue. Is the enforcement regime conducive to remodeling Accra?
He is pessimistic any new master plan will work, since similar plans drawn in the past did not succeed.
If you look at these plans here, for example, they were prepared with the UN support way back in the 1990s. The UN provided a lot of funds. It was a comprehensive master plan for the Greater Accra region. Nothing happened. It went to cabinet, it was approved. Lots of money was spent on it.
The new master plan is intended to reduce congestion, improve the landscape of the nation's capital, thereby improving the quality of life and economic growth.
A Chinese agrochemicals company, Wenka Sunshine, has handed over a 1.5 million CD school block to Accra in the Ashanti region. The intervention is to enhance quality education delivery in the community and also strengthen Ghana-China friendship.
The school block comprises 6 classrooms, fully furnished library, an ICT center, 2 meeting rooms, offices for the headmaster and teachers, and 24-seater sanitary facility. Chairman of Wincarson Shine Agric Trading and Product Company, Jack Lee, said the gesture is part of its social responsibility to communities it operates in. Chairman of Wincar Group of Companies, Wu Jianhua, said the project signifies the strong ties between Ghana and China. Chinese ambassador to Ghana, Wang Xinting, stressed the importance the Chinese government attaches to education, adding that China would continue to support Ghana with infrastructural development as part of efforts to strengthen bilateral relations between the two countries.
China will not only construct and assist you in the building up those big and landmark buildings. China will also give you a lot of support on the grassroots level. For instance, China, we have drilled about 1,000 boreholes in this country. The people on the ground in the remote villages will be able to access the clean waters by this project. This project is not very big, but it benefits the people on the grassroots level.
The Deputy Ashanti Regional Minister, Elizabeth Ajiman, lauded the company for complementing government efforts towards bridging the infrastructural gap in the education sector. The company has, since its establishment in 2005, created over 1,000 direct and indirect jobs for Ghanaians.
Let's now turn to our MTN Video reports this evening as our citizen journalist Francis Kwedu Kofi reports on an ICT Center abandoned for 7 years in the Jomoro district of the Western region.
Yeah, the building you see here is supposed to serve as an ICT center for the schools in Hafasini, Jomoro, to be specific. See, but for the past 7 years, this building here has been abandoned under the mercy of the weather, and the ties in it has been taken away by individuals. It was a good Samaritan who has withered the place to use for maize plantation. It was furnished with computers, but now cannot even boast of one computer inside. All the computers inside have been taken away by individuals. The school in Jomoro has no ICT center. Now look at this building here wasting. From Hafasini, this is Francis Kwedu reporting.
Certainly a very worrying development. They'll be following up on it subsequently. Now, you can also send your video report via our WhatsApp number. It's 055-1433-044. You're watching News 360. We will delve into some news from the world of business shortly. Stay with us.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the Business Report on News 360. My name is Pa Kwesiasari. Let's begin with our very first story. And farmers at Wese Rice Hub in the Upper East region risk incurring losses due to lack of combined harvesters. Eva Tsibuka, my colleague, reports that large swaths of rice farms ready for harvesting usually get bent when the fields are dry.
The valley is known for its fertile lands for rice cultivation in the Upper East region. Currently, Valley 1 and 2 have 650 hectares of land developed. Caesar Ateng is a Nicholas farmer and has 185 small-scale farmers. They each have not less than 20 acres of rice plots and over 80 acres of assorted crop farmlands. After the difficulty in getting their farmlands plowed, their next hurdle is assessing combined harvesters.
We are feeling that if you people can help us to communicate with the authorities to help us, because now farming is a business, and the amount that we have spent here, and if we do not get combined harvesters, everything will be wasted. and it will be a big problem for us.
Farmers usually incur losses after large swaths of rice farms get burnt when the rice falls dry, owing to lack of combined harvesters. The only combined harvester serving farmers in the area got burnt in 2014 and is still stuck here.
It is at the farm. We have complained now, but they are not even minding us.
Head of Advocacy and Planning of the Peasant Farmers Association is also a farmer here.
I think this is gold mine for the north, the valleys. It employs over 2,000 youth in this area. We spend a lot of money importing rice. And I think that if we should pay our attention to these valleys alone, we'll be able to become rice sufficient and then also to even export to our neighboring country.
The farmers expressed their disappointment and want government to prioritize the provision of combined harvesters to major rice producing areas. They also want tractors stationed at the District Ministry of Food and Agriculture offices to ease accessibility.
Away from farming, Petroleum has launched the second edition of the Startup of the Year Challenge. The program is intended to support business creation and development amongst young, innovative entrepreneurs.
102 winning projects were selected from 34 participating African countries in the first edition in 2015. Application for the 2018-2019 edition, which commenced on October 8 and ends on November 13, is open to interested Ghanaian and global entrepreneurs. It will go through 6 different stages, and Total Petroleum is expecting a stronger female representation.
The 3 winners will receive financial support of 180,000 Ghana cedi, extensive publicity, and a 1-year coaching from mentors. Furthermore, the ultimate winner will have the opportunity to compete at a regional level. We are certain that the Startup of the Year Challenge will be an exciting and rewarding adventure. We will build young talents who are going to contribute to the Ghanaian economy.
The French petroleum company says the Startup of the Year Challenge would be a rewarding adventure for society as it seeks to build young talent. The Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafuewa, lauded Total Petroleum for the initiative, saying it was timely due to the huge unemployment rate in the country. The maiden edition winner of the Total Startup is Joshua Ayimbura.
It's a real competition, very transparent, so you have to let everybody know. And it's a rigorous assessment before you get chosen. So if you are thinking of somebody or you know somebody that you want them to apply, let them know they have to get themselves prepared, because the application procedure alone is a test whether you are really good to do business or not.
For the French ambassador, Anne-Sophie Ave, the Total Startup Challenge is a step further in strengthening the ties between the 2 countries.
Startup of the Year by Total Challenge is a step further in this French strategy to give a boost to young and talented Ghanaians, making their dream business come true and improving this way their compatriots' everyday life. Total seems to have a sixth sense of picking the winner. One of the winners of its 2016 challenge, Groito Limited, was later selected as the Company of the Year for 2016.
In other news, ARB Apex Bank has made a presentation of a check of 10,000 cedis to the Volta Regional Hospital to support them in their quest to continue offering quality healthcare delivery to the public. Well, the donation, according to the management, forms part of the bank's corporate social responsibility to support society through relevant institutions like facilities of this nature.
The National Managers Conference is to take stock of the activities of the rural and community banks and the way forward in making the banks still relevant in the socio-economic development of the country. Their customers are mainly from the rural and peri-urban areas with very unique characteristics which may usually not be considered by most universal banks. The chairman of the Volta chapter of the Association of Rural Banks, Simon Nero Davo, addressing the 17th National Managers Conference, urged the central bank not to increase the minimum capital requirement of the rural and community banks.
Rural community banks serve a unique market. Their survival does not necessarily depend on huge capital levels. We think the current new limit of 1 million should be adequate for their operations, which have to be fully enforced by your target date. And we wish and pray that Bank of Ghana is not thinking of new capital levels for rural and community banks.
He was of the view that the current Bank of Ghana Corporate Governance Directive on the tenure of Office of Directors and Managing Directors could lead to the collapse of banks.
Because some of the provisions in that directive, if it should be fully implemented, I fear for the future of our industry. You can just imagine what will happen to rural banks if at one general meeting, all the 7 or 9 or 5 directors are supposed to leave.
Managing Director of ARP Abes Bank, Kojo Mata, said with the sweeping changes being introduced by the Bank of Ghana, the ARB Abes Bank and the rural and community banks have been strategizing as relevant players in the rural financial intermediation.
We shall be concentrating our energies on treating strategic topics including internal controls, electronic banking, cyber security, e-learning, among others.
Deputizing for Togbi Afada the 14th, Togbi Kutuku the 11th, commended ARB Apes Bank and the rural and community banks for innovations geared towards customer satisfaction.
I would encourage all of you to endeavor to work together with your directors and the ARB Apex Bank to ensure that the core banking platform is properly exploited to the advantage of the bank, to all the banks.
Meanwhile, 100 out of the 142 rural and community banks have met a new minimum capital requirement of 1 million cedis. The managing director of ARP Apex Bank, Kojo Mata, gave the figures on the sidelines of the 17th Annual National Managers Conference in Ho.
The managing director of ARP Apex Bank, Kojo Mata, noted some rural and community banks have a balance sheet of 200 million cedis.
Many of the rural banks have met the capital. There are several rural and community banks that have exceeded that capital many years ago. We have rural banks that have net worth over 20 million. We have rural banks that have balance sheet size of almost 200 million.
He said, due to the uniqueness of customers of rural and community banks, the central bank has been flexible in their efforts to raise the 1 million cedis minimum capital requirement.
Some are yet to meet the capital. The governor assured the rural banks that he will be flexible with the rural banking community. So far he has been flexible. The directors and the shareholders have not gone to sleep. They are doing everything to raise the minimum capital of 1 million.
The Bank of Ghana in 2015 raised the minimum paid-up capital requirement of all rural and community banks in the country from 300,000 cedis to 1 million cedis. All 142 rural and community banks were expected to raise their paid-up capital to 500,000 cedis by December 2016 and 1 million cedis by December 2017. The central bank, however, extended the deadlines to December 31st this year.
That's all for the very latest in the world of business. For more news, you can log on to our website, www.3news.com. My name is Parkus Yasari. Over to you, Alfred. Thank you, Parkus, with business. Now let's go into the issues of vigilantism, because the National Commission on Civic Education, that's NCC, has called for investigations into the latest incident of political vigilantism. At a media briefing here in Accra, chairperson of the commission, Josephine Nkrumah, described the upsurge of vigilante groups associated with political parties as a national crisis. An NPP vigilante group Delta Force attacked Member of Parliament Dr. Akotose in Kumasi over the weekend.
Chairperson Josephine Nkrumah said the Commission will continue to condemn name and shame vigilantism and all acts of lawlessness.
This for us is a national crisis. The security agencies must hasten investigations into the latest incident and bring the deviants to book. Political party stalwarts must also call their members to order and remind them that no individual or group of persons can hold the country to ransom under the guise of political party vigilantism.
She said the Commission has come up with a strategy to engage various political parties in an attempt to help in disbanding all vigilante groups.
We would engage them firstly on individual party basis, find some consensus, and bring all the parties together to a table and put it out in the public domain where they would have to affirm their commitment to disbanding these groups and totally ensuring that this becomes something that we resolve now and not have to go back to this issue of political party vigilantism.
She highlighted the risk vigilante groups pose to the country.
Because of the risk it poses to the country's democratic stability, social security, investor confidence, and peaceful coexistence of all Ghanaians, amongst other factors.
Josephine Nkrumah is of the view indiscipline in the security services could be attributed to political intrusion.
When you recruit people who have not got the demeanor or the character for the security agency and to work with the discipline that is required in that service, you can only expect that once in the system, all they would do is exhibit who they truly are. And especially for someone who's not disciplined, who has the power of a weapon, it gets worse.
You're watching NEWS360. Coming up is the latest of sports news with Nana Kujofre. Stay with us.
Good evening. Welcome back to NEWS360. Time for the sports update. My name is Nana Kujofre. The details now. And FIFA is likely to lift its ban on Sierra Leone, ending the uncertainty surrounding Ghana's 2019 AFCON qualifier against Sierra Leone on Thursday. The BBC's Mohamed Fajaberi tells TV3 Sports the Leone Stars could fly to Ghana on Tuesday. Ghana's 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Sierra Leone on Thursday looks likely to go ahead after the factions in the local FA dispute met in Freetown to trash out their differences. Sierra Leone were suspended from all football activities over claims by FIFA that the country's government was meddling in the running of football. That situation effectively meant Ghana's game on Thursday would not come on, but the BBC's Mohamed Fajabari told TV3 Sports the situation has been cleared and that the Leone Stars are due to travel to Accra for the first of two games in Group F of the qualifiers.
After deliberations, 3 resolutions were taken. Firstly, they've agreed to be talking, to be mediating amongst themselves. Secondly, they agreed to appeal to FIFA to lift the suspension whilst talks are ongoing so that they will be able to honor their back-to-back African Cup of Nations qualifying fixtures against Ghana's Black Stars in Kumasi on Thursday and here in Freetown on Monday. They also agreed to send a high-level delegation to the FIFA headquarters in Zurich, and Aisha Johansson and Christopher Kamara should be part of the delegation. So these are the 3 resolutions taken. I spoke to the sports minister after the meeting and he was confident that the match will take place and that FIFA will definitely lift the ban after receiving their letter.
Meanwhile, the Black Stars have arrived in Kumasi and held their first training session in Kumasi for the game. 8 players in all trained, including Captain Asamoah Christian Achu and Efiye Akwa. And Ghana coach Kusiapia is all confident of a good performance against Sierra Leone after their shock 1-0 defeat against Kenya last month.
All their players are almost professionals, except I think 2 or 3 who are playing locally. So it's a team that no one can underrate. We are also preparing very well and go out there to give out our best. You know, after losing to Kenya, I believe all Ghanaians are, very eager to make sure, we get a win. You always concentrate on what's next, and all our preparations has been towards the game against Sierra Leone. So we're not looking back, we're looking at the games ahead of us. From day one, we've said to ourselves, look, let's keep on preparing unless we get a letter from FIFA or CAF, which we've had nothing. So my concentration has been, preparing towards the game.
Still on news relating to the Black Stars, the Consolidated Bank Ghana has announced it remains the official bank of the Black Stars, with Unibank liquidated. CBG was created by the Bank of Ghana to absorb 5 financial institutions: Sovereign Bank, Royal Bank, the Beige Bank, Construction Bank, and Unibank, who ran into liquidity challenges. Unibank, prior to the consolidation, signed a new 3-year deal with the Ghana Football Association in November 2016 worth $1.2 million. There were fears the dissolution of the indigenous banks in March this year would affect the sponsorship deal, but CBG issued a statement earlier today backing the Black Stars to beat Sierra Leone on Thursday in the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. And that's all the sports here on News 360. My name is Anako Jaffred. Join me on Sports Station from 9 till 10 as we bring you the latest highlights from the world of sports. Good evening.
All right, it's now time for some entertainment news with me, Nana Kwejuado. Now, the story is just about Ghana's Most Beautiful. 3rd week into the competition, Ghana's Most Beautiful contestants took up the challenge to define what the slogan, "This is the life," means to them. Now, once again, the Brong-Ahafo regional representative, Ohima, was crowned the star performer for the night.
In turns, the Queens explained what the slogan for this year's competition means to them, using integrity, personal hygiene, poetry, amongst others, as their focal point. They showcase their understanding of the slogan, with the studio audience asking for more. Playing the role of an old woman, Ohima, the Brong-Ahafo representative, explained how important integrity is to the well-being of humans to her grandchildren.
Sheye, Nadachi, you don't promise your people white and give them black if they should vote you into power.
Her performance melted the heart of many as she received the loudest shout when crowned the star performer for the night. This award is the 3rd award she has received so far in the competition. Tension slipped in as a vision was brought up by the host, Johnny Hughes. As nervous as the Queens looked, the judges could not but allow them a lot more days in the house. But will the judges save the girls again?
We spared them today, but we won't spare them next week. Unfortunately, somebody has to go home.
9 of these people are to be evicted, right? You're aware of this. So it's only a matter of time that those evictions start to come out.
You've heard the judges. It's not enough to cheer the girls on. Vote to keep your favorite in the competition. Ghana's Most Beautiful. This is the life.
And indeed, this is the life. This week, there might be evictions, so you have to keep voting for your favorite contestant. That's about it for entertainment news with me, Nana Kwejuado. Alfred and Natalie standing by to wrap up.
Absolutely.
Thank
you. On behalf of the rest of the team, we want to say thank you as well for staying with us here on News 360. My name is Alfred Okanse.
And I'm Natalie Fort. Remember to visit 3news.com for some more news. You can also follow us on TV3 Ghana on Twitter, News on TV3 on Facebook. Thanks for watching. Have a pleasant evening.